Today we're going to the Reformation sample sale in West Hollywood. When I realized that sample sales were a thing here, that was the first one I clocked about a month ago. I went to the Elwood one the first weekend I was here and I learned a lot. So I want to talk about what you should wear if you're going to something like a sample sale, because it is a very big ordeal that you're walking into. What's a little tricky is it is pretty cold here. It's still like 50, 60 degrees in the morning. So I'm trying to decide what I'm gonna do because I will need to layer a little bit in order to stay warm. But once I get to the sample sale, they usually don't have dressing rooms. So I'm gonna be like needing clothes I can just throw other clothes over. That being said, I think I'm gonna start with a Classy Network crop tank top. It has a built-in bra. I think this will be the easiest thing to have on the top and just throw like t-shirts and cardigans and sweaters over as I'm trying them on. Last time I had a very heavy, I think I had this coat on maybe, and it's really nice because it keeps me warm, but it's so heavy to hold on your arm as you're trying to try things on. So that definitely taught me that I maybe just want to bring like a sweatshirt or something to put over the tank top. And then I didn't necessarily have any issues with pants, but I am going to bring just a black pair of leggings so that I'm comfortable. My thought process too is if I wore a pair of jeans, I might not be able to try other pants on over it, versus this material is a little bit slicker. So maybe I can get a pair of jeans or a pair of pants over it. Otherwise, something that I was taught by a new friend named Ellie is when you are going to try stuff on, if you do not have a dressing room at a sale like this, you can hold a pair of pants over you like this and you see where the seam lines up with the other seam on the pants that you're wearing. And that'll give you a good idea on whether or not these jeans will fit you. People talk a lot about like the neck trick, putting the jean around your neck or the pant around your neck. I don't know what that is, so I just go with the seam by seam. The other thing I learned the hard way last time is I would not bring a handbag, because you're trying to hold this and a jacket or a sweatshirt and you're trying to hold all the stuff that you want to keep with you and you're trying to try on clothes, you're trying to do it all, you're trying to do too much. So what I'm going to do instead this time is I'm going to have a crossbody, and I'm probably just going to put it around my waist and call it a day. Keep my money close too. Not that I've ever had an issue with people like pickpocketing or anything or trying to steal, at least not yet, thank you Lord. I just want to be safe and I want to have it as easily accessible just right there, but also not in my way as I'm trying to shop and look through the racks. So I think I'm gonna do that. I'm trying to decide on shoes because realistically I want to wear tennis shoes if we're walking a lot to get to this sale. We might have to park further away. I don't know how busy it's gonna be. I also realistically want shoes I can pop on and off, but maybe I'll just take them off and walk around the shoe section and see if I find stuff I like. I'll check back in as we get closer. I just returned from the Reformation sale. I was not very good about filming, mostly because there was so much going on, and two, people just change in the middle of the sample sales sometimes. So I was trying to be really sensitive to that because I didn't want to have somebody's, you know, booty cheeks out of my video. So I did not film a lot in there. I did a little story session, but I did come back with 4 new pieces and I want to show you what I got. I focused on basics in terms of like the structure and the fit. I didn't go too trendy, but I did want really distinct pieces for my closet that would be unique and not just like a simple white t-shirt or something like that. So let's dive into this. These are going to be the simplest. I needed a second pair of jeans. Reformation is great quality, and I wanted something a little more wide leg. I'm obviously really vibing with the wide leg these days. This I'm very excited about. It's a forest green satin dress. I'm always looking for dresses that I can wear to events, whether that is like networking out here or going home to a wedding. And I want something that looks really nice and also shows off my body a little bit because like I've been working on it or whatever. I didn't want V-necks that are too low. So I feel like this is a good V-neck situation. It's gonna hit me right around here. So if I'm dancing or I'm at a professional event, it's not something where I'm like falling out. The other thing I like about it is that it's ruched. It all comes over to the side here, and then there's a little slit on the side, but again, it's not like up your waist or anything. Like I've seen some crazy dresses, even back in Minnesota, I've seen some crazy dresses. I wanted something that you could pair with like sneakers and go get a coffee and be very casual, but also something you could dress up with heels and maybe like a sweater or a jacket, something like that. This one's also fun. As I said, I didn't want to get like a white t-shirt, but I knew that I needed some tops that were just short sleeve, good for the weather that we're having, maybe a little bit fancier in nature, but also not a dressy top. So I feel like this is a nice middle ground. It's 88% Tencel lyocell, 12% spandex. So that's not 100% great. I know all the girls in our house, we've been talking about trying to move towards less synthetics, more cotton. It's got a simple neckline, but it also will be really fun, especially as I wear it more in the summer. That was all I thought I was originally getting, but then I'm looking at a couple racks as I'm waiting in line for an hour. There were some racks that were like barricaded by the line trying to check out, so I never got to see what was on them. And then all of a sudden I see these. These are sweatpant cargo pants. They're a twill material, but they have the big old pockets. Lots of storage for a girl like me who doesn't want to always carry her fanny pack around. But it has a tie waist for comfort, and it's this beautiful like olive green color. You could get a pair of cargo pants or you could get a pair of sweatpants, but why not have a little hybrid moment? Wide leg, which I'm loving, and it's just unique. So I'm gonna do a short form video where I show what I got at the Reformation sale and then how I styled it. I also am going to do a video where I talk about what to wear to a sample sale. And that is movie magic. I won't lie, I'm not sure on the glasses. I probably will actually just wear my real pair of glasses to set, and then I can see like through the whole night and not have to worry about like contacts and continuity of like the film and the whole thing. I was trying to think of like a bag I could bring where my stuff could be in it, because I am bringing this camera. I got approved by Shayla to bring the camera and do a little vlog on set today. We're gonna be on our feet all day, so I just wore my Allbirds so I can be comfy. They're not gonna like shoot videos of my feet. This isn't OnlyFans, girls, okay? But this is the vibe I'm going with. I'm 110% sure the jeans will be fine, but they do want us to bring a second top in case people, like, let's say everybody wears orange. That's not realistic to like a party. We'll have to bring a second option in case they have us change. So I think this will be really fun. Our call time is 12:30. We'll be there till 9 tonight. So it's kind of a long day. So I'm just taking it as it comes. I'm open to whatever today brings and whoever I meet, and I'm very excited, but I'm also very nervous about tonight just because I don't know what to expect. It is nice though because I did get Shayla in connection with Shaylee and Laura. Then I have two people in the background who I can be extras with and actually interact with on the movie. But the next time I see you, I will be on set.
It's fine when they call. Got it. Okay.
Wait, we're still missing people.
That's a choice.
Like eyeballing you immediately.
Yeah, but that's a character. And if you play with your feet, kind of like you step leaning forward, you're kind of like lying on your feet as things are moving through. It's almost like the rest of my body's being dragged. That's a center. Fingers can be a center. Elbows can be a center. So like lifting up here, kind of like floating a little bit in your nose. I'm leading with my nose. This is Anne of Pompous face. That's what it follows. Because I'm pointing my nose at you. for a sauce?
Yeah, I got some sauces. You want some sauce?
Girl, you know a video. We're out.
I just got your note in the mail, and I wanted to say thank you. It's been a few days since I had my background actress experience. For this project, I was background. So my role was to basically be a body that's in the room. The scene was a party scene, like a birthday party in a house. They needed people who were filling up drinks, people who were pretending to eat, people who were talking in the background like you'd have at a normal house party. So I was physically acting. When this comes out, you will see that I was Margarita Girl. I walked through with my empty margarita glass a few times and talked to people in the kitchen. Catch me on the big screen next week. The physical acting part of it was very easy. It's just a lot of like doing the same thing over and over again. So you're filling up a margarita glass, you're walking around with your cup and going to the kitchen to refill it, greeting someone and giving them a hug, you're dancing to the music. Physical acting was not that difficult in my opinion. And then when it came to the talking portion of it is where I struggled a little bit. So not when we were doing the low tone speaking, but when we were doing the, I think it's called pantomiming, just miming. Basically, the difference is when you're doing that like low tone talking, I'm not talking at full volume like this. I'm talking like this in the background to somebody else who's also acting, and we're talking about random things and just going off the cuff. And it's supposed to sound like there's people talking in the background and it's a background noise that's added to the scene. Versus when I talk normally, obviously I'm projecting, and especially at a house party, you want it to be loud. That's kind of usually what the general vibe is. Versus pantomiming, if I'm saying that correctly, is when you just move your mouth. So I just said salty watermelon, peaches and cream, berries and cream. And then what was the other one? Brandon was the main character and he taught us peas, something, and carrots. I don't remember what that other vegetable was. You just say a bunch of random words and you have really funny faces and you laugh at what people are saying. And that part was hard for me because I'm like, I don't know what you're saying. I respond and I'm an active listener. So I have a really hard time being like, I don't know what you said, and thus I don't know what to do with my face. So I would say that was the hardest part because I had to pretend I was talking when I wasn't, and I had to also listen to someone who wasn't talking to me. It gave me a lot of respect for actors. Let me tell you, I learned a lot about actors, and there are so many people behind the scenes. That's the thing that's so interesting is we give so much credit to these actors and these directors, but we have no clue who the assistant directors are. We have no clue who the people doing lights and audio are. They deserve the flowers just as much, and they are doing just as much work, and it's so crazy to just see how it all comes together. I had some context to filming, obviously, because I've done YouTube now for 5 years. I've done social media for 10. So I have some idea of if you want to feel more sad or scared, you're going to use like a darker lighting or a bluer tone, cooler tone lighting. If you want to feel warm and happy and excited, you're going to use more of a warm lighting or a really bright lighting. So I knew those types of things about lighting. I know a little bit about sound, having done a podcast for a couple seasons, obviously using the microphone for videos like this. I understand what good quality audio is, but there are so many nuances and just little details. Like throughout the movie, they had to keep track of what part of the movie we were in because we filmed some scenes at night on the first day that were going to be near the end of the movie, and then we came back on Sunday and we filmed some scenes that were earlier in the movie, and so we needed to show that a party had happened over time. So for example, our last scene that we filmed, I'm standing with 2 other girls that are pretending to talk, and then the main character guy, who his name is Jack in the movie, but the actor is named Brandon. We're all pretending to talk and eat cake. In that scene, we needed to have plates on the table and cups on the tables, like behind us and around us, to show that people have been eating food. So there's like a set
designer, her name is Kate, she would crumple up a napkin and throw some rice on a plate and make it look like someone had eaten a taco, and she'd put it down. She would have a cup over back here. It's kind of showing how life and a night progresses. And those are the details that obviously it's Kate's role to think about that stuff. But when I'm watching a movie, I'm not exactly like looking for that. I'm not wondering, as this party went on, did they put used plates out? Like, I've just never thought about that. So as someone who has experience in visual merchandising, which is more adjacent to like that set design or like interior decorating of a film and like a set, I'm now going to be keeping an eye out for that. I've always kept an eye out for clothes because that's just fashion merchandising. I love clothing. I want things to be historically accurate. I have caught things like that in movies before, but now I'm going to keep an eye on the set. The other thing that's really interesting is learning from the production side of things that a lot of times things are only filmed on one camera. I wholeheartedly thought that most things were filmed with multiple cameras going at once so that you could get multiple angles. I was talking to a few people on like the director producer side of things, and they said unless it's like a huge budget film that you're filming in a high class studio, or it is something where it's like a family sitcom, they might have multiple cameras. Most shows are just filmed with one camera or two cameras. That's not that far off from what I do in terms of just having one point of view. I had this assumption because I've watched podcasts, and podcasts will always have 4 or 5 views because you can't get that moment back. You can't recreate it once it's been done. So you have to have 4 or 5 cameras to give you different angles and just something different to look at. It was very surprising to me that they only have one camera and they shoot it multiple times. And I started to notice that when I came home, I was kind of hungry, so I had a little food and I watched The Rookie after filming, and I started to notice that they have, I think it was like 4 different views of one scene. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, well, let's say they filmed each of those 2 to 3 times. That's 8 to 12 takes of the same scene, and that actor has to bring the same energy to make it cohesive. They have to do the same mannerisms. They have to have the same facial expressions. And then it also has you realizing if somebody's doing a action film, their stunt double, or them, if there's someone like Tom Cruise who likes to do their own stunts, it just gave me a lot of respect for actors. I can get lost in a TV show or in a movie, but I just didn't understand the nuance of it until now. And so my eyes are open to it. And I feel like it'll make me enjoy movies and TV more because I can catch those little things. Maybe it'll annoy me. I don't know. But being behind the scenes was very, very interesting to see how things come together. And especially when you're trying to do different scenes for different parts of the short film or the movie or the show, whatever you're acting in. It just gives you a lot of perspective that people have to keep things so precise. I also want to go back to even before I filmed, we had a call sheet. So there were call sheets for both days, and they listed out the time and what scenes we were trying to film within that time frame. But there was also a sheet that was sent to us that had a bunch of information of where the location was, where to park, what colors to wear. I believe I showed you guys that, and what styles you could do. So you could wear jeans, or like what would you wear to a party? Keep it kind of casual. Don't wear this color because one of these main characters is going to be wearing this color. The communication that you have to have along the way in order to make a film succeed shows how necessary it is to have a team, because you could write, film, direct, produce, do the lighting, do the sound. You could do it all yourself. Obviously, there are people who have because they just don't have the budget to bring people in. But realistically, it's so much work, and having a team of professionals who are good at what they do specifically is so necessary, and it just shows how much communication and teamwork plays into creating these projects. And then now that we're done filming, there's also the people who will be editing the film. There's the people who will be choosing the music. And I don't know if she's having people compose music for the film, but that needs to be done too, potentially. And then there are the people who are going to market it. Every step of the way has so many people who deserve their flowers. And I have never thought about all those people until I've gone through this experience. So it just gives me such respect for the industry that I live down the street from. I'm glad I had the experience. I learned so much. I met a lot of cool people. I did make a lot of good connections, but I think it would make more sense if I'm going to give time to something to dedicate it to more of the like fashion social media arena. But I'm glad I did it either way. And who knows, if there's a project that comes up that I'm very excited about, I might do it again. I enjoyed it enough. With that being said, I think this is the end of this vlog. I think I'm going to keep it short and sweet this week because I do have more exciting things coming up this weekend. As always, if you guys would keep me in your prayers, I am still applying the jobs. I still have nothing secured. I am on application 278 this week. I did slow it down a little bit because I was getting burnt out, but I am trying to still do applications like 3 times a week and just stay on top of them. If you live in the Los Angeles area and you know anyone who does social media or works in fashion and you would like to connect us, even if it's not for a job, you just want to make a connection for me, that would be awesome as well. Other than that, I love you guys. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.